Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday night Loving Kindness Meditation. My name is Alex. It is wonderful to be here with you today. Need to adjust everything to make sure I have it right. Good evening, Brian and Linda. Thank you for saying hello so early. And as you know, if you haven't been to this class before, I always ask you to say hello and let me know, especially if you're new, where you're from. And, it's a way to help me engage with you, to help me know who's out there, because, I'm looking into my laptop camera and it doesn't smile back. It doesn't say hello. It doesn't do any of those things. And so when you say hello, when you say something in the chat box and you hit enter, and I see it, it makes me feel good. It makes me know that you're out there and that you're listening. So hello, Brian and Linda. And doesn't look like there are a whole lot of other people here right now at the moment. That is okay. That isn't a problem. So we're just going to wait probably just a few minutes until we get a couple more people. I don't know how long it's going to be. Jeff, last week, excuse me, my nose itches. Sometime last week, Jeff made an announcement on the Dharma Bum Temple Facebook site that, he showed a picture of, a potential layout of the temple for social distancing, etc., and having maybe classes back at the temple. And, it's something that he was just kind of thinking about. And, I made a comment on there because, we don't know, what we like to do is we don't want to cause any harm, right? So we don't want to cause any harm to anybody. And so we don't exactly know how safe it's going to be. We do know that the governor is going to lift all the mask mandates and that people are getting vaccinated. And, things are happening and things are getting better, just in San Diego, we get the COVID statistics like a day late. So the statistics come in about 5 o'clock ish every afternoon for the previous day. And so the latest stats are, we had, I think, 12,000 plus tests and 94 positive tests, which was like 0.7%. A positive rate, which is really, really good. And it's been that way for kind of a while now. Our rate of positivity is going down and things are getting better as more people get vaccinated. And, I've talked about vaccines a lot and how amazing and wonderful they are. And, I have my data and all that kind of stuff. And so things are getting a lot better. And so Jeff and I were going around with it and, kind of talking about, well, what do we want to do? Do we want to open up or a little bit early? Because, what's happening? And I'm like, look, things are, this is just my 2 cents. The governor is going to open things back up on June 15th. It's 4 weeks from today, actually, is the 15th. And, until then, things are getting better, but they're probably not at a place where I would feel necessarily comfortable with opening the temple up again. And I know a lot of other, spiritual places and religious places have opened up and it's a effing free for all. And that is not what we want. That is not what we want. In the latest, we have a lot more outbreaks in the last few days. And they come from faith-based organizations because they just, it's all a free-for-all there, and that causes harm, and we don't want to cause any harm. That's exactly what we don't want at the Dharma Bum Temple. And so, hopefully in the next month, more people will get vaccinated. Our numbers will stay low, and it'll be all good. But we'll see. But I am so looking forward to seeing you guys again at the temple. But, the motto of the temple is think good thoughts, speak good words, or think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds, and it's not harming. And that is one of the chief tenets of this practice. And so until it's really, really safe, we're just going to kind of keep on doing what we're doing, Okay, so we have Brian and Linda who already said hello. Marcel, hello, Marcel. Wonderful to see you again, my friend. Lisa, hello. Marisa, hello, my friend. Good to see you. And Tamra, hello. And so, again, chronic sinusitis, I apologize, but sometimes my allergies get the best of me. So I am not ready for the Buddha's that particular Buddha story. So we're still going to have story time, but just another story, or maybe two other stories, depending on how much time we have. And one is from Jivaka. He's the Buddha's doctor. It's a really fun story. I love this story. And the other one is Malika, the flower girl queen, who had a very interesting life. And anyway, so hello, Eric. So we're going to do that. But before we can do that, is there anybody new today? Anybody new? No, it doesn't look like it, but that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our loving kindness meditation, and I will dispense with a lot of pre-instructions. This is going to go a little bit quicker than normal. So it's not going to be like a 25, 27-minute meditation. It's just going to be a bit shorter than that. But we're going to go through all the steps we did before, and let's go get ready. Let's go do this. All right, so everybody get into your seated position. Need to move this. Just give me a second here. Ooh. All right. Awesome. All right. Here we go, everybody. And just allow your eyes to close, making sure you have that nice and comfortable, sustainable seated position so you're not likely to move around too much. Maybe taking a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. Not forcing it, letting it be quite easy and quite natural. And when we sit like a Buddha. And you can even imagine yourselves as a Buddha sitting underneath your own Bodhi tree or your own tree of enlightenment, ready for the task at hand. And so now at first, let's just get comfortable with the breath and connected with the breath. And so we'll just do this for the next few moments. And now we're going to do some loving kindness for our benefactor. So just imagine your benefactor. Understand why they're your benefactor, someone who has shown you great love and great kindness. And just radiate loving kindness to them, wishing them happiness and safety and good health and all these wonderful things. And we'll do this for the next few moments, this practice of loving kindness for our benefactor. And so now we can shift our focus from doing this practice for our benefactor to now imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us, wishing us all the same wonderful things that we wished our benefactor. And the only thing that we have to do is receive all this wonderful loving kindness coming from our benefactor. You can put your hand over your heart if you want to make it a little easier. Maybe listening for any resistance. If you feel any resistance, that's okay. Just breathe into that and see if you can soften it just a little bit. But yeah, just for the next few moments, we'll now imagine our benefactor doing this wonderful practice of loving kindness for us. And we just receive all of it. And now, again, shifting our focus to now we can do this practice for ourselves, wishing loving kindness for ourselves, either through just imagining your own heart getting bigger, repeating phrases of loving kindness for yourself, or just radiating loving kindness to yourself. However you want to imagine that or do that is perfectly fine. It's just important that for the next few moments, you just have loving kindness and you think about loving kindness for yourself. And now finally, we can explore this limitless quality of the heart by doing this practice for all beings in all directions. Whatever beings there may be, great or small, above or below, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. And so just radiate loving kindness to all beings in all directions. And we'll end our meditation with this. And so we'll just do this for the next couple of minutes. just open your eyes when you're ready. And so just stay silent for a minute, and while you stretch your arms and you stretch your legs. And then we're gonna, have a short question and answer, and then story time. I'm gonna stretch too. Okay. All right. And so let's take a couple of moments out. And if you have any questions, if you would like to, kind of talk about your experience of meditation, that would be wonderful and perfectly fine to do. And so while you're thinking about that, I will talk a little bit and I will get your opinion on something. There, it's better. That's better. So normally I have I'm at my dining room table right now, and I have this kind of overhead light with the fan with the overhead lights, with the four things, right? And usually I have that on, but I really hate it. I cannot, there's something I just do not like overhead lights. I don't like them at all. And, I try my best to avoid them. And so I also have this little book light. That's kind of, you clip it on, and then it has like kind of flexible neck. And so I clipped it on this bowl, and then I just, it's just shining on me right now. It's just like a little light like this. And so I think this looks better. It may be not quite as bright as maybe what you're used to. So if this is okay with you, I'm just going to continue on like this. But if you'd rather, if it's a lot brighter, that's okay too. Let me know. I'm not opposed to it. After I just told you how much I hate overhead headlights, that kind of thing. Good. Glad you love it. Okay, are we all ready for story time? Story time, yes? Give me a yes. Give me a yes in the comments if you're ready for story time. Thank you, Brian and Linda. All right. Now it's all coming in. Good. All right. So story time. So guys, this is the story of Jivaka. And the Jivaka actually was the Buddha's doctor. He was the royal physician. And, I think some people might be a little confused about the Buddha, this enlightened being, having a doctor. And just so you know, the Buddha was a human being, and human beings get sick sometimes. And the Buddha got sick sometimes, and he needed a doctor. And Jivaka was his personal doctor. And this is the story of how he actually became the Buddha's doctor. And things didn't really start off really well for Jivaka. He was born to a woman named Salavati, and she was Jivaka, Jivaka. It sounds like Jivaka, but every time I hear Tanjev talking about it, it's like he just says Jivaka. So I'll say Jivaka. So the V is not super pronounced. It kind of sounds a little bit more like a W. All right. So Jivaka's mother was a courtesan in the court of the Magadha king. And, as happens sometimes with courtiers, she found herself pregnant, and she was really up in arms about what to do. What am I going to do? I'm pregnant. I can't be a courtesan and pregnant, and I have to have this child. What am I going to do with this child? And she goes, oh, I figured it out. Okay, here's what we're going to do. All right, so if it's a girl, I'm going to raise her to be a courtesan like me. And if it's a boy, I'm going to throw him on the trash heap. Yes, the trash heap. And so time goes by, as it normally does during a pregnancy. She has the baby. It's a boy. She throws him on the trash heap to die. And just around that time after that happens, Prince Abaya, or Prince Abisa, actually, is kind of wandering along, and he hears this crying from on top of the trash heap. And so he goes up to investigate, and he finds the baby. And so he rescues the baby. He takes the baby, and he comes to raise him in the palace and names him Jivaka. And the word Jivaka means rescued alive. So that's what that name means. That's what Jivaka means. It means rescued alive. And, he raised Jivaka as his own, and everything was going really great. He grew up in the palace, and he had a lot of the benefits that, the palace people had, and he had a really good education. But after a while, he kind of got wise to the fact that he wasn't a blood relative to anybody. He was found on a trash heap, and he knew it. And so he would never factor into the line of succession. And because of that, when he became an adult, he would pretty much be cast out. And so he knew that he needed to find some sort of profession, something to do. And so he got really, really interested in medicine. And so, the time came, and he said, this is my interest, and I'm interested in medicine. And so they sent him to study at the most famous university at the time. It's a real university. The ruins of this university are still there, and it's called Taxila. Taxila. So Taxila. And it is in the Punjab region of the Indian subcontinent, and it's still there. It was the most famous university for a very, very long time. And that's actually, at Taxila, that's actually where Sanskrit got codified. That's how old it is. And so he went to study, and he was studying at Taxila for several years, and he was a really, really good student. And so, but after a while, after he thought that he kind of knew what he needed to know to be a doctor, to be an Ayurvedic doctor, he asked his guru, he asked his teacher, I think I'm ready. What is it that I need to do? And he goes, oh, you think you know what you think you're ready? Okay, here's your final test. So what I want you to do is I want you to go outside the school and out into the district, and I want you to tell me every plant that does not have medicinal value. This is going to take you a while, so, go really slow. So again, show me and tell me, list every plant in the district that does not have medicinal value. And so he goes, fine, I can do this. And so he goes outside, and the first thing the first plant he sees, he goes, this plant is good for this. This plant is good for this. And he goes and he lists every single plant, and he inspects every single plant in the district, and every single plant has some sort of medicinal value. He's not finding any plants that don't have medicinal value. And he's starting to get really, really worried about he's not finding any of these plants that don't have medicinal value. And so he takes a while, and after a while he comes back to the teacher, and he goes, I'm sorry, sir, I can't find any plants that don't have medicinal value. And the teacher looks at him and says, congratulations, you're a doctor. Because all the plants had medicinal value in the district. And so he passed the test. And so, great, he graduated. He's a doctor. And but he had another problem, you see. And the other problem that he had was that he didn't have enough money to get back home. And so, but his teacher actually gave him some money to get back home, right? And so he's on his way home, and he runs out of money. And so he has a problem. He needs some way to earn enough money to get back home. So he's in this town, and he kind of advertises this new doctor. He advertises his being a doctor, and does anybody need to be cured or healed from something? And he met this woman who had this kind of issue that she's had for like 7 years. And, she's seen doctor after doctor after doctor after doctor, this wealthy woman, and none of these doctors can do anything for her. And, she went up to him and said, look, I'm going to come to you, and I'm going to trust you to try to find a cure, but I'm not going to pay you unless you cure me. He goes, no problem. And so he inspected her, and because she suffered from like these really, really severe headaches. And one of the things that he needed, and something that was really, really super popular at the time, was ghee, which is this clarified butter. And he needed ghee, and it often acted as like a delivery mechanism. And so he inspected her carefully and examined her, and he found the ghee, and he concocted this potion, and it worked. It absolutely worked. And she was thrilled, obviously, that her headaches had subsided. And so she was so happy that she gave him 4,000 gold coins. And her husband was so happy that he gave him 16,000 gold coins, a servant, one male servant, a female servant, a horse, and a pelican. And a pelican is that thing that they just they hold and they carry somebody, right? And he finally made it home, and he presented his payment to the prince and said, thank you, Prince, for raising me. I know you didn't have to do it and raise me in the palace with this kind of wonderful life. And so I want to repay you for everything that you've done. So here's everything that I've been given, and it's all yours. And the prince refused. He said, nope. And he told him to build a home near the palace. Isn't that wonderful? And then a little while later, the King Bimbisara, actually got sick. And he, it was a little embarrassing. And his wife was even making fun of him, right? Because he had these bleeding hemorrhoids. And, the Prince Abisa recommended, there's this doctor, this new doctor. He grew up in the palace, Jivaka. And so Jivaka inspected the prince and concocted a potion and put this potion like under his, if you can't see me, under his nails, right? And administered ointments and everything, and he got well. He was like a really, really good doctor. And the king was so happy. The king gave him a mango grove, 10,000 gold coins, and a small village in the district, which isn't that wonderful. And then because of this, and because King Bimbisara was a Buddhist who loved the Buddha, it said he also offered his services to the Buddha, and that's how he became the Buddha's doctor. All right. So a little while later on, there was this wealthy merchant, and this wealthy merchant had not been well for quite a long time. It had been 8 years. And, he came to Jivaka, and, Jivaka says, well, what will you offer me to heal you? And this wealthy merchant said, anything. I will give you anything to heal me. And he removed these 2 worms from his brain. Isn't that wild? 2 worms from his brain. And then the Jivaka said, okay, now you have to sleep 7 months on your back, 7 months on your right side, 7 months on your left side. And then he also said, like, your condition was like kind of incurable, and you actually might die in a few days. But this is the treatment that I'm prescribing to you, so please do this. And he was not happy about it, but he said he'd do anything, so he did. And so he spent like 7 days on his back. And after 7 days, he goes, please, I cannot sleep on my back any longer than that. Is that okay? And he goes, all right, then 7 months on your right side. And then after 7 days on the right side, he goes, I can't do any more than that. Please. And he goes, okay, now 7 months on your left side. And after 7 days on the left side, he goes, no, I can't do any more than that. Please, don't make me do any more than this. But Jivaka was very, very smart. The treatment wasn't 7 months on the back, right, and left side. It was really only 7 days. But if he knew that if he said seven days, he wouldn't even do that. So that's why he said 7 months. And so he was cured. And so he asked for 100,000 gold coins and for him, and 100,000 gold coins for the king. And now, because of this healing, he had this incredible reputation, right? And so, I have this story, and it written on paper, and I just kind of read from it, and I know the story anyway. I just don't want to miss anything, and so this part of the story was my favorite part of the story, and I know it's my favorite part of the story because what I have written on here says, this part, and I have nothing written down. Right? I have nothing written down because I know the story. It's hilarious and I love it. All right, so here's what happened. So there's this king, King Ujeni. And King Ujeni had been ill for just a long time. He had this nagging illness. It was just annoying to him. And so he comes to Jivaka, and Jivaka goes to the palace and says, okay, so what is it? He describes the problem. Jivaka gives him an examination. And while he's doing that, the king says, listen, you, I hate ghee. I hate the taste of ghee. And I will not take anything that with ghee. You cannot give me any ghee or else. And so he threatens Jivaka. And so Jivaka, after he examines him, he thinks to himself, shit, I have to give him ghee. That is part of the cure. And so he thinks about it and goes, well, what am I going to do? And so what he mixes the ghee in this kind of solution to kind of mask the taste. And before he gives him the potion, and gives him the treatment, he goes to the front gate of the palace and says, I need your fastest she-elephant. Right? I need your fastest she-elephant because I might need to go and get something for the king's treatment. And so that's why I need your fastest elephant. Camped out right here. I'll be right back. Comes back to the king, gives him the treatment that he has to swallow down his throat, and just takes off. Says, I gotta go. And he takes off, goes, gets the elephant, hauls ass just as fast as he can back home. And a few minutes later, the king, after taking the potion, goes, there's ghee in here, and he is enraged. He is incensed. So he gets his fastest guard and to go run after and go get Jiwaka. And Jiwaka knew this was going to happen. So Jiwaka gets so far, gets off the elephant, and the guard catches up to him. And when the guard catches up to him, he sees that Jiwaka has some cut-ups. And my computer locked. Give me a minute. It does this every so often, and I might get cut off.